it was always. So yeah, this is like basically the pre-show to the episode.
Yeah, there's nothing I like more than potentially completely embarrassing myself by coming off as unprepared. But we've decided to start week 14,
16, I believe it is.
or week is it week 16?
16, 17, 18. Yeah, 16.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
it is
it's
episode 16. But we're deep into the NFL season. The Colts, of course, have just beat the New England Patriots at home. Final score like 27-17.
Yeah.
Colts were clicking in all phases. That was probably the most complete win I've seen as a Colts fan.
Other than the Bills one, yeah.
Yeah, other than the big Buffalo win, but yeah, certainly still coming off that high.
Yeah. Sweep of the AFC East, win against the Dolphins, the Bills, the Pats, of course, the Jets.
Right. And somebody said, made the comment the other day that Jonathan Taylor didn't have that good a game if you take away the long touchdown run. I actually did the math. He still would have had more than 100 yards rushing. So
yeah,
it's what he pretty much had a good day no matter what. And then I thought it was funny.
It's funny, how like 28 carries for 110 yards for him, it's considered like a bad game.
Yeah.
Kind of like
just about anybody else, they'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, solid game.
Right. But yeah, the Colts appear to be sort of surging at the right time. I, of course, am doing all that research that you like that I bring to the table when we kind of talk about. So for the season, I kind of look at passing offense. I look at the quarterback rate.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz 13 in rate.
And I believe he was like 6 in.
Wow, 6 in QBR.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that surprised me, especially after like such a bad
QBR,
game against
QBR is garbage.
Yeah.
But so I always sort of take the median of the two. And like we've said before, I even say this to myself, mostly as reassurance that the points I've made aren't completely stupid. But I've said before, the thing about Carson Wentz is that he has the body and the skill set to be a top 8 quarterback in the NFL.
Top 8, top 10 quarterback, yeah.
But he has some problems that are going to be hard to overcome. Namely, he can't hit a wide open receiver. It has to be like either the easiest throw in history or a contested throw. Yeah. Otherwise, he's going to overthrow it. Mo Alley Cox. There have been many others where the guy's wide open.
I remember one. Yeah,
just got to put a ball on him, and it's a touchdown. Mm-hmm.
The Titans game in Indianapolis, there were 2 of those, like 3rd and long, and I believe it was like an end zone play to Pittman, or it was just like 3 inches, like overthrown. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
But yeah, so certainly, and for those still asking, because for the record, Mateo, people are still asking me, do I think that Carson Wentz was worth the price the Colts paid? Yeah. I mean, look at the price the Bears paid to get Mitch Trubisky, and he's not even on their team anymore. So with respect to what the alternative could be, well, yeah.
I think like Sam Darnold, like what was it, like a 3rd round pick, a late round pick?
Mm-hmm.
A 2nd round pick. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Meaning, I'm still not sure about it. Like the game against the Patriots, I was like thinking, okay, this guy is not it. He might be a good like rich quarterback for the next guy, but I don't think this is a guy that can bring a championship.
Mac Jones or Carson Wentz?
Right now or for the next like 5 years?
Yeah, for like the next 5 years.
Next 5 years, Mac Jones. Give me Mac Jones.
Really?
Yeah. I just hate quarterbacks that make stupid mistakes consistently. Look at the missed throw against the Titans, first down, overtime, triple coverage interception. Key moment against the Patriots, first down, again, triple coverage interception. That shit can't fly with me. I just hate those type of throws.
And I would like to continue to point out, when Carson Wentz plays against a cupcake, he looks like a world beater.
Yeah.
When he plays against a competent football team, he can't help but give it up. He just lays on belly up. Here, have the ball. I keep alluding to, and it's mostly just poking fun at your quarterback, but there's a reason that he didn't go to like a Power 5 school. He went to FBS 1A or whatever, and it shows. It's the little things. It's just like when you inherit a bad football team, you got to coach them out of dumb penalties, right? You got to say, hey,
it happens. Yeah.
Offsides is stupid. So is being offsides on defense, right? There's no reason we should have false starts. No reason we should be offsides. You eliminate those penalties. Generally, teams that commit less of those penalties are better coached football teams anyway.
Yeah.
But it seems to be the opposite with Carson Wentz. It's literally like the more important it is that you don't fuck this up, he just like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from not understanding the gravity of the situation that he's in. Because here's what I've been saying the whole time. We didn't need much more than what Phillip Rivers brought.
Yeah.
To make it to the playoffs. And then we went out and got Carson Wentz, and I was like, damn, Carson Wentz might be too much, because he's an athlete. He's going to be able to keep the play alive a little longer. And of course, what we're talking about is that he's going to eventually turn it over because he is trying to make a play. And I think we can all agree that one of the things that we liked to see when we had Andrew Luck is Andrew Luck not only would step up and through the pocket and make a play with his legs, he was also decisive and accurate, and especially really good at finding like the wide open guy and just hitting that. And I swear to God, if it ain't 60 yards away, Carson Wentz can't hit it. Because it seems like that deep ball once a game, he spot the fuck on. But any ball between that, there's a chance where he's going to be errant, and it's going to be bad timing, and it's going to kill a drive.
Bad decision,
So that's just been kind of an observation. Then, of course, the offensive line playing out its ass, even though our depth
Ryan Kelly,
is being questioned. Obviously, no Ryan Kelly. Now we're hearing no Glowinski this week, but that depth. That Chris Reed, that Pinner, what is it? Is it Pryor?
Yeah, Reed, Pinner, Matt Pryor, tackle, yeah.
I mean, they've really held up this offensive line because it hasn't been a season full of starters playing on that offensive line, unfortunately.
Not at all, yeah.
And so they're going to continue to get tested. I think Glowinski, it might be the only one left that hadn't missed a game, so I guess it's kind of his turn.
I think that he missed. I believe he missed like one, where just one game perhaps, where Reed was a starter, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Or was he injured or was he benched? I can't remember. But yeah, I know he did it. He didn't play a game, but then he came back and like started playing really well again after a rough start to the year.
Right.
So yeah, it looks like it will be like Fisher, Nelson, Pinner, Reed, Smith. Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the Cardinals been playing like shit lately. I don't know what happened to them. Did you get a chance to watch the Cardinals game against what was it? I believe they lost to the Lions.
The
this past
Lions
week.
and the Rams before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the Rams, I get it. You can't lose to the Rams. They're a good football team, but losing against the Lions, that's like something's not okay there.
Yeah, the reality is no DeAndre Hopkins, no JJ Watt, right? Arizona was banking on, stealing some talent from was stealing what was left from Houston.
What little was left, yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately didn't get to extract a lot of wins out of that talent because from what I understand, and I haven't followed Arizona as closely as I'd like, because I did see him as a threat. They quickly got, to me, in my eyes, they got overtaken by the LA Rams in terms of the heat from the West. If I had to put money on a couple teams out West, it's the Rams and Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah. Justin Herbert's the real deal. That defense is legit. But
I'm not sure I agree with you on that one, but let's see how it plays out. Chargers are playing what the Steve? No, are the Chargers playing on Sunday? It's no, the Texans. No, yeah,
yeah,
probably won't have a problem there, but I'm just not sold on the Chargers yet. I'm just not sold on.
Fair. Yeah, they got a young quarterback starting for them. But yeah, the Colts in just a couple weeks, man, went from the outside looking in to now are the fifth seed in the AFC in just a couple weeks. And the hits, they don't stop. I mean, tonight, after we get done recording this, probably about the time it goes live, the Tennessee Titans are playing the San Francisco 49ers. I expect San Francisco to get a win here.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah. Tennessee is like without 3 of their 5 offensive linemen going up against the Niners.
Right. A formidable defense, one that was apparently willing to give up DeForest Buckner. So I just want to thank the San Francisco 49ers for not only letting us beat you earlier this year, but also for letting us have DeForest Buckner, because man, that investment's paying off. Talk about an important player. Yeah. Colts got a big win on Sunday against the Patriots. Got a big game coming up against
biggest win.
Arizona in the desert on Saturday. By the way, Saturday night. So the Colts are playing a bunch of primetime games now that their record is salvageable. And then the Colts are going to get another sort of boost here when San Francisco beats Tennessee tonight in Thursday Night Football. Not going to crack the 5 seed. It's going to take a couple more losses. I think it takes 1-2 more losses. So right now, if the Tennessee loses, I think they're still a half game up. And then if they lose again, I think they're tied.
Yeah,
if they lose a third game and we win out, then we would end up winning the division. So the Colts could backdoor win this division. It's still possible, which is bananas. After starting 0-3 and losing both the games against both the games.
It's like if we go 2-1 and they go 1-2, do we get no?
That's tough. I think we have to go. They have to go 1-2, and we have to go 3-0 in order to get the division. So it's
if they go,
if they win 2 games, they keep it. I just think they have the same record and then 2 games on us. So it's like they have to have a 2-game worse record for us to tie and a 3-game worse record for us to overcome, I think. And my math is probably terrible, but I'm willing to say it.
No. Yeah, that's correct.
So the Colts went from, if you look back on past podcasts, we were really shitting on the Colts. We were like, hey man, this team's been
We were among
mismanaged. They're held together with paper mache, and now it's looking like one of the more stable organizations in the league. Fortunately, haven't been chewed up by the COVID bug.
And don't speak. Don't speak too soon.
Right.
We now have just, what is it like? Is Rock, Glowinski, who else? Rock, Glowinski. Was it like EJ Speed?
Oh no.
Let me check.
And by the way, I just want to point this out about EJ Speed. EJ Speed is another one of those kids like Kenny Moore that did not go to a Power 5 school. For the record, he was recruited very heavily and chose to stay home. And when you watch EJ Speed's film, he sticks out like a sore thumb on a football field because he chose to stay home, went to a smaller school, and played lesser opponents. No, he just played smaller people. And it sticks out when you see him on film in college. He was a man among boys. The good news, so the reason to say that is it looks like that kind of carried over to the NFL. If I'm just speaking candidly, the Colts have grown men athletes playing special teams and not guys that basically we wouldn't be on anybody else's roster that are like hometown guys, and that's why they're playing here. The Colts have legitimate studs at every level, offense, defense, and special teams. And I don't know,
like it wasn't Speed that was, it was Lewinsky, Rock, and I believe it was the fourth tight end, Farrow Green. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
So yeah, like the Speed we playing, yeah.
But yeah, the Colts are gonna need some help if we're thinking about winning the division, but are firmly in a playoff race. And I get it. You're not nearly as up on the Chargers. So I'm guessing you kind of think the division's going to be between the Colts and the Chiefs, huh?
Yeah, perhaps
not division, the conference.
The conference. Yeah, I got you. But probably like I don't know about Baltimore yet, because of the injury to Lamar Jackson, and their offense hasn't been playing that well.
Yeah.
Then we have the Patriots. I just don't trust a rookie quarterback in the playoffs.
Right.
That's just me.
Yep.
And the Bills have shown that they are not like legit, where we thought they would be here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm seriously like I'm saying like the Colts could very easily, make the Super Bowl. It wouldn't be like as far-fetched as early on the year,
No.
The thing with that is that I know I love Ballard. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy. He's, in my opinion, like among the best GMs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But was he wrong in calling this an evaluation year when the Colts are now clearly in a position to probably make the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, is it fair to say that you may have overestimated your opponent and that he thought these other teams were going to be better and that we were going to have, like, they started off probably exactly what Chris Ballard thought was going to happen. We're going to come in like a rickety ship, right? Trying to hit the dock, and we're just going to run roughshod, and it's going to be a wild ride. And it was the first few weeks of the season. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, how embarrassing!" You know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Chris Ballard came into this season with the right mindset. I got a new quarterback. I spent a bunch of money on. He's kind of an outsider, right? He's not really one of the guys. He's gonna have to do a little fitting in. He's gonna have to, we're going to have to get his reps up. We're going to get him familiar with our system. And I'm a firm believer, and I say that shit all the time about consistency is key. And if you can get the same offensive line, the same players out there playing in the bulk of your snaps, over time, you should just win more because cohesion's a thing. And I just don't think they started off the year with that. Now, I also don't think they have that now. For the record, they do not have offensive balance. And that's one of the gripes A lot of people say one of the things about having an imperfect thing is that it's always imperfect. You're never happy. When in terms of happiness, I have long since removed my ability to be happy from an outcome I have no control over. So let's just get that out of the way. What I'm talking about is perfecting that imperfect machine. So what I see is a Colts organization that probably had the correct call on the season. A as the eval year, and then all these other franchises shit the bed. And now the Colts are like, oh shit, that's called a gift appearance, right? So now late in this season, when the Colts are like, we're actually like putting together some wins. Now the Colts are relevant, and it isn't all us. They keep getting help like every week. It ain't gonna happen like that every season. It's so much of this league is a coin flip league, and I think that they got a lot of gifts they weren't expecting to get, and now they really are. In my position, when I look at the AFC, I say until somebody steps up and beats the Chiefs are 1A. And until the Colts start losing these important games,
they're 1B, yeah.
They're the only team I see that's beaten the Patriots, that's beaten the Bills. By the way, the fucking Dolphins have won 6 games in a row. So those are teams that are winning this year. The AFC East, I imagine, is probably the winningest division in football this year.
Yeah,
despite the fact that the Colts housed that division and went undefeated against that division. They're still the winningest division in football, and could potentially put 2 or 3 teams in a playoffs. Now, it's not likely to happen. That's not likely to ever happen. But it does feel good, and this is mostly sass. It does feel good that the Titans are just in free fall mode.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna lay this out for you. I've been an NFL fan my whole life. Do you know what happens when your team invests a bunch of money on high-priced free agents? Arizona,
it doesn't work.
Tennessee, it don't work.
Team
organizations that they draft a guy when he's 22 and they hung with him even though he got dinged up. And hell, I mean, Pat McAfee dove into the canal as a rookie, and a lot of teams probably kicked that punter off your team. He ends up being a Pro Bowler. So like I said, there's something that speaks to consistency and loyalty. And I get it. The Colts are the business, and corporations are not our friends. But of all of the corporations within this corporation, I actually do like the Colts feel a little more run by humans. That's not to say that all these other NFL teams are run by robots. That's not what I'm implying. But what I am saying, though, is there are lots of cookie cutter sports franchises, and I don't think the Colts are one. I don't think the Chiefs are one. The Ravens, the Patriots, very short list in the AFC. Of dynamic organizations that can roll with the punches and are going to be successful pretty much no matter who they have.
Who they play, who they have.
But when it comes down to the end, I think you're going to be looking at the Chiefs and the Colts in the AFC Championship, and again, I would call that a gift, where the Colts get it one step farther. Am I gonna sit here and honestly say, after I've literally told everybody you don't ever bet against a great quarterback, he'll burn you. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell people, oh, the Colts are gonna beat Patrick Mahomes. It's gonna take a similar effort to the last time the Colts beat the Chiefs, where the defense pressured Patrick Mahomes so much he got dinged up and had to leave the game, right? That's about the only way you're going to beat him is to keep him off the field.
The greatest Kimoko Toure game of all time. Was it like also the game he got injured? Like,
that's probably how that works, right? He literally left it on the field.
Yeah, I remember that he was having like those first like 6-7 games. Dude was like the reincarnation of Robert Mattis, so to speak, and then he suffered like that gruesome injury. Remember, where like
Mhm.
his leg got stuck and it's never
Oh
was
yeah.
the same.
But yeah,
Yeah,
the Colts
yeah,
had an opportunity here. If you really start to get the Colts had the opportunity to basically be 8-0 against the two best divisions of football, the NFC West and the AFC East, and obviously dropped those first two games to Seattle and the Rams. You now think about, is this Colts team better than the Seahawks? Yeah.
yeah.
Now they only lost by 3 at home to the Seahawks, so I do not hang my hat on individual outcomes because that's what people that didn't pay attention to math class do. But I am willing to make the leap that if you can keep it a 3-point game and literally give away points the whole game, you can beat that team. I don't know about this year. They're very good. So in the NFC, I like the Packers and the Lions.
Wait, wait.
Packers and the sorry,
Are they making
brain
like
fart.
the impossible
Packers,
comeback, or they
Packers
are?
and Rams. Packers and Rams are my favorites in the NFC. Um, yeah, I just don't think it's about firepower. Now, there isn't a dynamic. I mean, the Colts, right? So the Colts fit in a unique box where your offense and defense are both competent. Um, Lots of organizations do not have both a competent offense and defense. It's usually one or the other. But the thing, I say all that to say, outside of really the Colts, there aren't great defenses at the top in terms of like the winning teams. For example, we talked about before the Patriots game, oh, this Patriots defense is going to be really good at shutting down the run. Well, they were
Yeah.
19th against the run. So I don't know where that came from, but I had people all week telling me, what are the Colts going to do if Jonathan Taylor can't get going against the Patriots? And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like 20th against the run. They're not even that good. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And I get it.
It's
It's the
like, yeah.
Patriots. It's Bill Belichick. I get it. He is the monkey on the Colts' back. But the reality is that, and I'm still coming back to being a little baffled that you would rather have Mac Jones' noodle arm. Whoo-wee.
Yeah.
That noodle arm's stanky. I can do something with Carson Wentz. You know what I would do if I was Frank Reich? I would do the same thing I did. I'm so happy that I coach football, and now I'm going to go play football, and I'm going to play quarterback, and I'm going to put it on Huddle, and I'll put it on YouTube, and you're going to be forced to watch this 38-year-old, right, absolutely destroy rec league. Mostly because I'm not a one read quarterback. I can run a multiple offense. I can call my own plays. I don't need help. Your boy Carson Wentz can't do that. And you know why? Because he doesn't know how to establish balance on offense, right? Remember a couple weeks ago, we're talking about how, the Colts ran the ball like 9 times in a row. That's Carson Wentz's fault, and that's him not being able to run an RPO correctly. The purpose of running an RPO is to force balance. It's not to give you options. It's to say, we should be running the fucking ball, but if they start creeping up towards the line of scrimmage right before you snap that bitch, watch this guy, and if he creeps down too far, throw this snag route, right? And the problem is and we had this problem too, and this is how I know like it's on the quarterback. The first game I was a play caller, we threw 29 passes in the first half, right? Oops. Got a little pass happy. This comes from a lack of experience. So again, I'm sort of saying my experience is what Frank Reich's going through. It's just on a macro level because he's getting paid a whole bunch of fucking money to do it. So what happened is that we put in an RPO, and then we started running the RPO just in practice. And even in practice, it's like crack cocaine when it's added to your offense because you want to hand the ball off. But what happens? The defense goes, shit, they're running that inside zone again, and they cram down on the ball, and now they're waiting on it. And so my quarterback's like, there's no way I'm not letting that ball go, or I'm not handing that ball off. And he pulls it back, and the snag is wide open. So he's going to throw the snag. And then what's going to happen? The next 6 times you run that RPO, he's going to throw that snag route because he's got it in his brain. If I ride that inside zone too far, that whole defense sucks in. I got to pull the ball out. Otherwise, I'm going to get this guy killed. Right. So we had to take the RPO out of our offense. He was a first-year quarterback. You wouldn't do that to Carson Wentz. Right. But what we did was we took the decision-making out of it. Same play. Everybody does the same thing. It's just what we did was I had to stand behind the play and watch and look at their alignment and go, all right, he should pull it and throw it because of this guy's too far this way, or he should hand it off. They got 2 high safeties, right? We were using that sort of a system to basically still run our RPO, but take the decision away from the quarterback. Otherwise, you have no balance. Because it's almost like you need your quarterback to be a mathematician. You need him to be in his brain, in his bag, going, all right, all I'm looking for is a single high safety. That's all I want, baby. I want to throw the deep ball, right? Outside of that, once you see 2 single high safeties, then you're just looking for the bubble.
Yeah, you're running.
Where can I run this ball? And then if you don't already have that play called, generally, if you can just flip your play, you're supposed to be in the right spot. It takes a whole lot of communication though, because football players are dumb. So one of the things to think about too, when you see the Colts and you see us griping about how you have no offensive consistency, and I get it, you're winning football games throwing 12 fucking passes, but just like you lose games when you throw 12 passes, and you lose games when you throw 40. It's about balance. And I think that what the Colts will do over time is they'll realize what I realized real quick, right? It only took one game where we were like, oh shit, the RPO is going to screw our offensive balance up. And we had multiple guys that could run the ball. Like I said, we, in a lot of ways, felt a lot like the Colts offense, right? Dominant offensive line, really good trio running backs, only a couple really good starter quality wide receivers. We were exactly that way. And one of the problems we had was we couldn't establish the run because teams were just daring our first-year quarterback to throw. Well, you got a guy on the sideline that went to Purdue during Joe Tiller's era, right? Like, I'm going to want to huck the shit anyway. And you're going to line up all shitty, like 7 yards off my wide receivers. I want to throw now screen to my wide receiver and give him 7 yards of separation and facing the defender. Good luck defending that all game. And now it's a track meet, right? And then what we weren't able to do because we couldn't get the ball out to the wide receivers fast enough is we had to sort of make up a run game. So that meant putting your running back in at wide receiver and then throwing a screen to him, stuff like that. So the growing pains the Colts are going through on offense are completely normal when you're running this like up tempo RPO base. And you've also got the best running back in the league, who's very quickly going from, he's an interesting prospect to, he's a pretty good runner to, oh my God, he's unstoppable to, oh my God, he might be one of the best running backs I've ever seen. For those Coltist fans that also watch Hard Knocks, man, the timing in the show as it refers to stuff that happens in game is uncanny, right? Like, for example, with the punt block that EJ Speed recovered for a touchdown in the end zone against the Patriots. They were talking about that in practice, in film, where what they noted was when that guard tapped on his hip and sunk down into his stance, he created like a 2-foot gap that really wasn't there when he's standing straight up. For some reason, it's just the way they were lined up. I was in a Marine Corps infantry, so that's my stupid obsession with like alignment and shit. So like, I'm totally built for this because what they realized was you got to find an edge. You got to find some way we can make a play. And what they realized is literally the way this guy bends his leg when he gets down into his stance, it actually moved him forward. And you can literally see it on film. There's just this gap that opened up. and all you had to do is turn your shoulders. You fit right through that hole. And I swear to God, he said it right on camera, and it happened in the game. You're like, what the fuck? Like, it's like you couldn't have literally picked him up and drug him to the ball. But yeah, so that's been really interesting to see. And what ultimately I'll be interested to see is, can the Colts, can you throw the ball 25 times and then Jonathan Taylor has 25 carries? That's the challenge, right? Can we establish some sort of balance? Obviously, also want to talk about while we're still here. I've probably watched that a few times. How did Michael Pittman get kicked out for throwing a punch? He had his hands on his helmet. He was trying to put his helmet back on, and he pushes the guy open hand, both hands. So he's like, I'm trying to put my helmet back on, clown. Which, for the record, one of the things the Colts have managed to do outside of that fight is largely avoid bullshit. So obviously that's kind of a something you hope kind of passes us, and it doesn't become something that sticks.
Thing.
Because you just don't want to see important players, I hate to say it like that, key players missing time.
Missing a game because of
I hate to put it on a guy like Quentin Nelson, but Quentin Nelson has been kind of the don't mess with my teammates kind of guy. And I'd like to see
I love him for that.
Him in an instance where he senses that and he just snatches a guy by a jersey and rips him out of the situation, and then inserts himself and is like, anybody want to throw punches? Please do. But not MPJ, like not my receiver. He's not Hines Ward, and they shouldn't expect any of these guys to be. But if we learned anything from the Seattle game, I think it might have been last year, a couple of years ago. It might have been last year, actually. No, it might have been 2 years ago. No, it might have been long. Jesus, time is a flat circle. So there was a Seahawks game where the Colts in the first half were beating up on them. And the second half, from my perspective, the Seahawks played dirty. And Colts players got hurt. I think that's the future for the Colts, unfortunately. The Colts, whether we really like it or not, it's become one of those things where you're like, given the rest of the league seems to be juggling this, the Colts are actually a pretty well-run organization and also have really good general managers, or a really good GM and a really good head coach and really good position coaches too. So I think they're going to be formidable for a long time. And one of the things that I get to say this, speaking from personal experience, when you are consistently really good, you're going to get attacked. It's just the nature of the beast. People realize they can't beat you on pure skill alone anymore. It's going to take some other thing. And I think that's what's in the future for the Colts, specifically guys like Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., and then the young Colts secondary guys that have played out of their mind. I wouldn't say a guy like Xavier Rhodes is going to get caught up, but I'd absolutely say just about anybody else that plays in the secondary for the Colts, these young athletes are going to get targeted in kerfluffle because what these teams are going to do, because they know you don't mess with the Colts O-line, you don't mess with the Colts D-line. And what teams do is they look for, how can we sort of break the carton of eggs here? And I think the only way to do that is to try to get into the heads of the guys that touch the ball, which I didn't say is going to be easy. I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor or Nyheim Hines or MPJ or even TY, again, are guys that I'm worried about. I'm just saying, like, when you're able to just outskill people in phases, right? So it's not just our offense is putting up 500 yards and 50 points a game. It's now they can do that, but the defense can shut you out. The special teams unit can generate points and turnovers. When you've got sort of that complete game theme kind of going, some teams, all they know is we're going to submarine on the D line now. Now we're going for shins and ankles and knees. Now they're gator rolling when they tackle. which is my least favorite move in all of football
Yeah.
outside of headhunting. But yeah, and I hate to be that kind of guy, but that's exactly what happens when you start to become dominant and consistently dominant. Is people cheat and now they want to hurt people.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I wish it wasn't that way, and I wish I didn't feel that way, and I wish I hadn't seen it at every level of football ever, where you'll watch a team and you're like, man, this team's really well coached. And it really doesn't matter if it's their first string guys or their third string guys. They are competitive with everybody. And then you'll watch a game and you're like, did they just got an unnecessary roughness penalty on the sideline. The opponent did for throwing punches at the coach. Like it's still football. And even at the NFL level, it still happens. It happened. That's why Michael Pittman Jr. got kicked out of that game. So I want to make sure we talked about that. Like, I don't think that he deserved to get kicked out. And I think I'd like to see the big enforcers for the Colts removing a guy like MPJ and inserting themselves instead and saying like, punch me.
Imagine if that happens to like Jonathan Taylor against the Raiders,
right,
early in the game, or even so in the playoffs. Just can't happen.
Right. That's the only reason I'd even thought about it, is like, man. And then of course we got to talk about, while we're here, the only thing Jonathan Taylor could do to impress me is either play defense or special teams at this point. Leading the NFL in carries. I think I saw that right.
Yeah. He should be. Yeah.
Also, leading the NFL in rushing by 500 yards, almost.
Pacing Titans fan off. That's why he's the greatest. That's why I love him.
Yeah, I feel like before Jonathan Taylor became a Colt, I had seen a few great Colts running backs in a row, right? I'm thinking back to like Joseph Adai, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk, and now I hate to be that guy very early in his career, like Jonathan Taylor, like unless he just gets injured, like he's a very smart runner. Lots of times he's not taking a big hit. He's coming up clean. And then even when you feel like he does get sort of like gang tackled, it doesn't feel like he was on the bottom of 10 people. He pops right up. Frank Reich was saying earlier today, he doesn't think he's seeing any wear and tear. So I fully expect he's going to see the same, sorts of workload.
Yeah, the thing with running backs is that you just never know, it's like,
right,
it only takes one domino to fall and then it's all downhill from there. That's what I expect will happen with Henry there.
For the record, it's all uphill from there.
Well, yeah, I was like referring about like production, you got it. But that's what I expect to happen with Henry, like one injury, then another, then you don't get that explosiveness back, then you don't have that, like that first step, that cut, and you just boom.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah, and for some perspective on that, like I got hurt in the Marine Corps 15 years ago. I'm still in physical therapy. So, and that's just to maintain strength and my range of motion. And I get it. For the record, not bad. It's not bad for replaced. I mean, I could put my arm by my, you know what I mean? That's not my throwing arm. So I know everybody's like, he's gonna play quarterback and he got like one arm. Fortunately, you don't have to use one of them. It don't do nothing. It literally, when you throw, it's like this. It's like right here, and like I'm doing the thing with my left arm. This arm is supposed to be on the center line. Like that's all you're told, is like it's supposed to be in this area. I try to like not involve it in the play. I try to stick that thing out there too. Just trying to get rid of the ball as fast as possible. But yeah, man, it's felt good lately. Watching Colts games, you almost have like a sense of, we're gonna be all right. That's kind of how I felt Saturday against the Patriots, and that's not. I've never had that feeling before. But the way the Colts won that game, when it was all three phases doing work and creating turnovers, even though we didn't keep the foot on the gas pedal and score 50, 60 points and embarrass anybody, we were ahead, and leaving them what felt like the bulk of the game. I hope you're wrong about Mac Jones, for the record. I don't want him to be
I hope so too, but
he does
you
have
said it
he does
yourself,
have the
like,
quarterback whisperer. So
yeah, you said it yourself, never bet against a good quarterback. My motto is never bet against LeBron James, never bet against Bill Belichick.
yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, there's other people on that list too. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Don't bet against LeBron James. Don't bet against Bill Belichick. Don't bet against Nick Saban. Right?
Yeah.
Like there are fundamental truths in sports, and it's specifically football. Those are pretty much it. Dabo Sweeney is going to say something irrevocably ignorant in the next like 90 days. You want me to keep going? I'm Nostradamus when it comes to this shit. Urban Meyer will be employed by one of the major networks in the next 6 months. I can guarantee that shit.
Even like 2 months or
Well, I didn't want to be too dead on. Then people are like, well, all right, sources. But yeah, I think, man, we've hit about it all. We talked about it last week. Talked about this is a big game this week. It's not. I do want to say this because I don't think you're going to get this anywhere else either. If you do lose, this is not the end of the world.
Yeah, I agree.
This is an NFC team.
Yeah, non-conference game. You still have a game above, and Chargers gotta play the Bengals. It's not the end of the world,
It's not the end of the world, but
I mean,
the Cardinals are very much banged up, and if they were ever beatable, and I hate to use that word with Kyler Murray in the backfield, but if they were ever going to be beatable, now's the time. And you don't have to face them with JJ Watt trying to kill your quarterback. So they're beatable this week. Hopefully the Colts continue to get to sort of avoid the COVID nightmare, right? Of 29 players last week.
Let's just hope that it's just those 3 guys and no one else, that fingers crossed,
Yeah, because that was kind of one of the letdowns from that Hard Knocks show was and I gotta be the guy that says this stuff too. So Carson Wentz walks up to to sort of the middle of the room after that win, and he says, this is the most selfless team I've ever been around. And I just wanted to point out the irony in the most selfish person on that football team, Carson Wentz, who refuses to get vaccinated, would feel in his brain what was left of it is thinking about recognizing selflessness. So I just want to kind of throw out there, like, how ironic is that? And I also wanted to express my disappointment with people like Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers for being in a unique position to be sort of the guides on how to handle immunization when you just come out and say I'm vaccinated and boosted, and I think everybody else should. For it's best for all of us if we do that. How easy was that for me to say? And I don't feel like the weight of shame, or I don't have to think about at night how my inaction has led to the death of like millions of people, and how my selflessness and carelessness and thoughtlessness may impact other people. I don't ever have to think about that, right? Because I'll just make a call, go to the VA and get my shots, right? That's easy for me to do. It must be really difficult, though, when you have like closer to $500 million and a house that my entire bloodline can't afford. It must be really difficult to swallow your pride and be like, rather than circulate medical misinformation, Aaron Rodgers, rather than come off like a complete fucking idiot, know nothing, Carson Wentz, I feel a lot better when my quarterback's like, yeah, I'm vaccinated. What of it? next question. I like him a lot better. I like that quarterback a lot better. So I decided that, and because I can't find that quarterback, I'm going to have to be that quarterback. And I'm going to be like a parody. I've already talked to my team. I'm going to be like a parody NFL quarterback that says what you're supposed to say instead of the dumbass shit these idiots say to keep themselves socially relevant, because that's about what it is. You know, we're not trying. I wasn't trying to be malicious. I was just trying to keep my name in the news, right? Because it raises my value when come Aaron Rodgers isn't staying in Green Bay after this season. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he probably
you taking a spot from Jordan Love.
Oh no, I keep saying that like he's not gonna stay, but like he's gonna stay. They're gonna give him whatever he wants, man. Like, he's gonna be another one of them guys playing in his 40s. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
Unless he just gets bored with football. But yeah, I felt like I had to come out and say that. Like, it's just been super disappointing that amidst all this like death, that I can't think of a single NFL quarterback that like has done it right.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of, there's no champion. That's crazy. Nobody's nobody's going, you know what? You know who hit this on the head? Baker fucking Mayfield. That motherfucker went out there and said, you know what I learned at University of Oklahoma, which is one of the largest research universities in the world and has the 7th largest. Hold on, let me back up and get my shit straight. They have the 7th largest contribution from like people that used to go to school there. So like the alumni at Oklahoma like fund one of the largest research universities in the world. And Baker Mayfield went to Oklahoma. So don't you think it would be like, damn, if Baker Mayfield that went to Oklahoma was the guy saying, you know, vaccines are great. You should go get one. But you can't. It's this dumb macho ego. I can't stand it. It literally makes me sick to my stomach. Instead of being that, you chose the Joe Rogan and why can't I get ivermectin? Like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Fade into obscurity is the
it will have
the hope. Anybody still not on board? Just, I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be the thorn in my side, right? Because clearly it's not learning and adapting and developing its frame of mind. It continues to say the same stupid things. I guess if there's one upside to Carson Wentz being my quarterback, it's that Aaron Rodgers isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who do you rather have? You know, an unvaccinated Aaron Rodgers or an unvaccinated Carson Wentz? Talented douchebag.
It's shit in one hand, shit in the other for me. But Aaron Rodgers at least plays out of his mind sometimes, and frequently, when the Colts are the most dominant, it's because Carson Wentz threw like 5 passes. So I guess I'd rather have the guy that can make more impact if you have to have him make impact. But again, I think like everyone else, I like it when the Colts run like 40 times a game and blow people out and it's not close. That's also like an acceptable way to win football games. I know there are a lot of people who don't want to hear that and are also going to be surprised that I feel that way. But I read something like 3/4 of Carson Wentz passes were considered turnover worthy balls. Against the Patriots, including the obvious one. So there's that. But yeah, I figure you probably have some family to get to. It's a holidays.
Oh, I have a wedding to attend. I have to get dressed and stuff.
Oh man!
I can put on a shirt
and a tie. You ready?
Yeah, shirt, tie, you know, suit.
Wait, it's happening right now, like today?
Nah, yeah, right now it's like the wedding and the reception. So later it's like the I had to leave like in 30 minutes for the party.
For a party. So
Yeah,
you're
it's
going to
like
get drunk today.
the cocktail. Yeah, most likely. Odds are yes. It's
I
like
like to
a
hear that. Is there like an
Cuban
open
odds.
bar at this wedding?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and yeah.
love to see it. Love to see it.
It's not a wedding if it's not like an open
Open bar.
bar.
Yeah. My brother-in-law got married at a Victorian church and had an open bar. Not only were the pictures fantastic because it was a Victorian church, but there was an open bar, and that was the first time that my wife and I have ever gotten lost on our way to our car. So, and we parked on the property.
So yeah, most likely tonight is gonna end with me at I don't know if I can say this like on record, but most likely it's going to end like 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping on a beach.
Sleeping on the beach.
Nah.
I love to hear it, man. Hey, have a good time. Stay safe out there, obviously. This has been the Coltist episode 16. This is the happy birthday Mateo episode.
Yeah. Almost forget. Yeah, my birthday was on Monday. Yeah, Monday.
So happy birthday, brother. I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad glad we're doing this podcast together, man. It's
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, been great. And also, my apologies. We couldn't record yesterday. In case you didn't notice, I live in a third world country where power outages in summer are regular thing. So yeah, bit of technical difficulties.
yeah, I mean that's one
Oh,
of
yeah.
the things that we go into things like this knowing that you got to control what you can control. Sometimes things are going to happen that you have no control in that over that, and all you can kind of do is kind of
Readjust. We managed to
readjust,
record this one on a
adapt, and
short notice.
overcome, as they
Yeah,
say around my way.
yeah,
But
which we
yeah,
did.
enjoy the games this week. Like I said, Thursday night football is going to be relevant for the Colts tonight, even though they're not
Yeah,
in
keep
it.
an eye on that one.
So keep an eye on that. And then Colts play Saturday night,
Don't forget that.
and then Sunday, Monday games. They all have an impact on the Colts one way or the other. So I know there's a lot of friends of mine that are tired. This season feels like it's been going on forever.
Yeah.
And it's not over yet. And the Colts are going to be playing postseason football. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah.
With the opportunity to even win a division. So amidst all this hullabaloo about the Colts blew any chance this season had to being relevant, and they backdoor into the division, and then we get to start the conversation all over about these goddamn banners, right? So we get should the Colts backdoor into their division, we get to talk about here the Colts are stringing up another banner that ain't a world championship banner.
Yeah.
Dan Knockage. But yeah, we'll leave it there. This has been this was episode 16, did we say, of the Coltist?
Yeah, 16th. Yeah.
Episode sweet 16.
Hope it's sweeter, next week. We can celebrate with a Colts win.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, basically like happy holidays. Like,
Yeah, happy holidays.
enjoy the long weekend
Merry
off.
Christmas if you celebrate, and we'll see you after this week's game.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.